Hey guys, this is Doug Jessop with the Caring Stories. Today, Andrew Taylor with Octagon Mentoring. Now, Octagon Mentoring. What does Octagon Mentoring do when it comes to high net worth individuals?
So, high net worth families, wealthy families, have a unique struggle that none of us like to recognize.
Okay.
And that is that they're younger generations that are growing up in wealthy families or famous families. They tend to really struggle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of struggles there. And we don't like to recognize that struggle because we're like, you were born into fame and fortune. Who doesn't want that? When in reality, there's a lot of struggle with individuality. There's a lot of struggle with knowing who to trust and why people are nice to you or not.
Yeah.
There's a lot that comes with this. And in the work that I've done through the years and working in adventure therapy and coaching and mentoring, I've worked with a lot of wealthy families that have just struggled to find their way through how to help raise their kids in an environment where they have a lot of resources and wealth, and it's a lot more complicated than people think.
Oh, I realize that because, I've been a broadcaster and interviewed tons and tons of celebrities. And yeah, people forget that, they're normal people once the cameras are off, and they worry about their kids just as much as anybody. In fact, maybe I'd say a touch more because you're right. It's like those trust issues. Whoa, boy. How do you deal with, and help with mentoring the kids? Because the adults, okay, yes, I know you do that. But kids, they need a little extra help because their parents are probably used to the fame and fortune, but these guys, they just came along.
And what you'll hear is, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
I didn't want this necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, it's an issue that's very complex. And like I said, there's not a lot of empathy. Who do they complain to?
Yeah, no
They
kidding.
go to their friends and like, this is hard, and it's like you're wealthy and you're part of this famous family. We're not hearing that, and they feel very isolated, and things like that. And so the rate of substance abuse and depression and anxiety is actually higher in these situations.
Really?
And so yeah, it does take, I think, someone who can step in and understand where they're at, meet them where they're at, hear them, and be able to hear what they're going through and have some empathy for them is a big start for a lot of these young people.
Well, I have to admit, now this is me getting personal, but one of the phrases that I hear a lot, and it just drives me crazy, is this first world problems. I'm going, no offense, problems are still problems. If you've got money or fame or whatever, you still got to deal with this. Now, you use kind of a three-pronged approach. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, I've got a background in business.
Okay.
And I've obviously, in my career, worked with a lot of young adults.
Yeah.
But in working with those young adults, I've also worked with a lot of parents. And so what happens is sometimes you get a family that's got a big family business or multiple generations of wealth and things being passed down. And so while I can come in and help the young people or the rising generation within that family, I can also help their parents, but I also understand the business side. And you could say those three things are quite separate, and sometimes they are, but often they're not.
No, I would actually think they're extremely interwoven. I don't know how in the heck you get through all those little things. Is there something that people might not know or realize about when you're dealing with things that it's kind of a common thing that, that I might not see or, somebody else might not see, but you see a lot?
When working with young people?
Yeah, and or their parents.
I think that there are a number of things that I see, and some common things are young people need to feel like they matter. Now, what we've done for the last 20 years, and it's not the worst thing we could have done, but in the positive psychology movement, we've tried to say you're special, you're important, no matter what. And there's a lot of criticism about the millennial generation and getting trophies for everybody, and I don't think that did a lot of damage, but I think it also wasn't always helpful. But there's this whole other equation to you're special and important just because you are, and that is we get self-esteem by contributing, by being valuable to a situation. We go in to a sport and we contribute to the team and we feel amazing. We go into our work and we do something valuable there. That builds us, it grows us. Just sitting there doesn't give us that. And so that's the other side to this coin that I haven't seen a lot of in young people who are struggling. And that's this feeling that I contribute and I matter because I bring value. I work hard. I do, not just because I am. And I think that's a big missing piece that we're just now starting to talk about a lot more.
Now, I realize this question could go on forever, but I'm going to have you try to abbreviate it because I know a lot's going to be on your website. But okay, last time I checked, since you talked about a coin, okay, Octagon. Okay, Octagon, if I remember correctly, is 8-sided.
Yes.
Okay. Give me an example of some of those 8-sided approach that you use. You don't have to say them all, but just give me an idea, because I got to think there's a reason why you were called Octagon Mentoring.
Yeah, so I went to a Leonardo da Vinci exhibit many years ago, downtown Salt Lake City. I went on a date and this will be fun. See all these inventions, all these cool things, and there was this octagon of mirrors that you could step into, and it read, Leonardo da Vinci discovered if you stand in an octagon of mirrors, you can see yourself from every angle. I stand in this booth, shut this door, and all of a sudden I'm seeing every angle of myself. Now, some sides I'm like, okay, that looks good. I think I'm feeling pretty good about that. Other sides I'm like, what's going on back there? I'm not so happy about that. And that moment stuck with me, and I love that metaphor in personal development of stepping into an octagon of mirrors, getting feedback from many different sides, and being informed even about our blind spots that are uncomfortable. And so that's the philosophy that I coach and mentor with. I created 8 aspects. I created 8 aspects of self within that octagon. Our body, our physical body. Are we getting proper sleep, nutrition, movement? Our relationships, our career, our finances, our habits, our purpose and meaning. And we take this 8-aspect approach to the work that we do with young people, and it all interacts and informs each other. And I think any person could benefit from feedback and vision into their blind spots, even though it's uncomfortable. And that's what we do when we coach and mentor.
Well, and to use the mirror metaphor, it's like, okay, it's helpful to have somebody else kind of give us that feedback. And I'm sorry, but your mom probably said something a billion times, and then they're going to go to you and they go, oh, okay. But it's because, I'm just saying, because, you're an outsider. You don't have any skin in the game from the standpoint of, any objectivity or biases, if you will, I guess. And so I think it's nice to have an outsider be able to say, okay, let me explain the way we're seeing this behavior.
Yeah. Oh, huge benefit in that. There's no emotional baggage. There's not an agenda. As parents, we get concerned about how we want this to turn out, or we get invested in a certain outcome. And as an outsider, you come in and you say, I care and I don't care. I care about you. I don't care what you do as long as it's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't care about your feelings as long as you're making good decisions.
Right.
And it's not that I do care about your feelings, but to your point, it's like, let's get what you want out of life as long as it's healthy and good. And to your point, a lot of people will take that advice from an outsider much more easily than they would take it from their parents.
You've got Octagon Mentoring, where you're helping, high net worth individuals. You've written a book. You've done, these programs in Costa Rica, and you're also doing this new AI program in the mental health world. To me, there seems to be a common thread, okay? And to me, it is kind of mental health and wellness. And so, number one, thank you for being willing to shine a light on something that for a long time has not been talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We know what you do. What I want to know is, why do you do what you do?
Thank you for asking. And it is personal. There's no way around it, you know. And I have had my own mental health struggles with depression and anxiety. There's a genetic aspect to depression and anxiety. There are a lot of young people and older people out there struggling with all kinds of mental health situations. We're just now starting to talk about it. We've been ashamed of it for a long time. I feel that too. And what has drawn me to this world, this field, has been my own journey. And initially it was, I found a lot of healing through adventure in the outdoors. Nature's great medicine. And that's what really informed my career and got me into river guiding and eventually running an adventure therapy program in Costa Rica in the outdoors where, I mean, catching a good wave and going down a river and getting splashed in the face and hiking over a mountain, seeing a sunset, that stuff's really good. And the research is getting better and better for our nervous systems and our cortisol and our serotonin and our dopamine and all the good things that make us feel good and feel like life is worth it. And so I'm very passionate about that. And as my career is growing in writing this book and doing the coaching and mentoring, I'm not a clinician. I'm not a therapist. I know I can be helpful, and I love working with a good therapist, with a client. And I'm feeling the need and the desire to get more reach, to be able to help more people. And there's a lot of different ways to access help. I think technology is going to be a really good way. So I'm very excited to be getting into technology. AI is scary and exciting. It's good, it's bad, it's all the things. The same way the internet was when it came out. We were all there.
Oh, yeah.
We remember when life before it and after it and all the controversies when it came out. And it's still with us. And that's going to be true of AI. I'd rather be a part of making it good and a high quality experience so that we can help more people. Because when you feel hopeless, when you feel down and out and like nobody can understand you and no one can see it, there's not a cast, there's not a hospital visit, there's nothing like that, it can be really lonely. And there's a lot of people that we know and love that are struggling that you'll never know.
Well, thank you for helping people get something that's real important to me. Hope.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mental health is one of the topics that I talk about and interview a lot of people with because, and you know, it is interesting. You mentioned the mental health as a genetic thing. That's new. A lot of people go, you know, but when you start looking at it and say, okay, grandma had this issue or blah, 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 and all of a sudden you go, wow, wait a second. Maybe there is something to this. Yeah. So how do people get more information about Octagon Mentoring?
So octagonmentoring.com is a great place. There you go. Very easy. I just published a book called Launch. It's on Amazon. So
congrats.
If you look up Andrew Taylor Launch, you'll find it. I also have a personal website, andrewtaylor.bio, B-I-O, where you can access my book, Octagon Mentoring. I also run a podcast called The Andrew Taylor Show. Very creative.
Boy, you're all over the place.
You know, you got to hustle. You got to hustle. You know the drill.